Hi, it's Ian PC, and I'm going to give you a little introduction to VMware Workstation 11. If you've never actually used this before, then here's your introduction. So I'm going to show you VMware Workstation 11. So this is VMware Workstation 11. As you can see, I'm doing some beta testing on Windows 10. So let's get started on what the main interface looks like. Okay, so we'll start with the toolbar. So I'm running in Windows 8.1. Yours may look a little different. Not too sure. It depends on your operating system. So when you click File, you've got the option of creating a new virtual machine, a new window, open, close tab, connect to server, connect to a VMware vCloud Air, virtualize a physical machine, map virtual disks, exit. Edit, you have your virtual network editor and your preferences. View, you can do full screen, Unity mode, control view, or console view rather. Fit guest now, fit window now, auto size with other things, and customize options. VMware, this is only available when you're running the virtual machine. You got your power options, removable disk options, pause, send control delete, grab input, snapshot options, capture screen, manage, install VMware tools and settings. Tabs, you can open new tabs, and your help. So this is VMware Workstation 11. So, and then up here you got your play options, all the ones that are grayed out, right here and right here. They are not available unless you have the virtual machine open. Here, and here are some view options as well. On the left-hand corner, you will see a library part where you can search. Your computer appears here, and all the virtual machines that you've already made, and your shared virtual machines. When you first open VMware Workstation 11, you will see that there is the Home tab, which is automatically opened when you start VMware Workstation 11. So you have your create a new virtual machine, which is you can create a new VMDK file and all sorts of those things. Open a virtual machine is where you can open those files if you've already made it, or one of your friends, or you've downloaded it off the internet, a shared one with you. You can connect to a remote server. I've never actually used that or had a need to use it, so I don't really know what that does. Well, I know what it does, but I've never actually had an experience with it, so I'm not going to be getting into that. And I do not have a VMware vCloud Air account or anything having to do with that, so I do not know what that does either. Okay, so let's start with a virtual machine. So when you click create a new virtual machine, you will open the new virtual machine wizard. So I'll say, welcome to the new virtual machine wizard. What type of configuration do you want? For first-time users, I'd recommend typical, and it's a lot easier than doing the custom, which is much more advanced with options. And so that's why I recommend it. And I'm going to be that's what I mostly use, typical, unless I'm doing something that requires more tedious work. So you click next. Now, you're going to, so what you're going to do, if you give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay. And now that we're back, I'm going to show you to continue how to make it. So now that we're at the install part, you have the option of installing from an installer disk from your DVD drive. You can install from a disk file or an ISO image, or you can install later and it'll just create a blank disk. For operating systems such as Microsoft DOS or anything that requires a floppy disk image, you need to do that after. You need to install a blank disk before, and then you go and you edit it, and then you add in your images. So let's do something simple and do an installer. So you're going to click Browse, and wherever you keep your ISO images, which I usually use, I keep them in one folder called VMware ISO images, and we'll do something, say, something simple. Let's do no, not XP, sorry. Let's do, sorry, I didn't really create this in lots of advanced, in a high advanced, so, okay, let's do Windows 98 2nd edition, which I have that on. So, as you can see, I have my Windows 98 2nd edition ISO, so I'm going to click that, click Open, and it already detected Windows 98. Click Next, what I want to call it. Click Next, and now you get to decide how big you want. I'm going to stick with their recommended 8 gigabytes. One time I did do one of those upgrading things where you start with, say, Windows 3.1 and you go all the way to Windows 8. I had trouble going from Windows 3.1 to 95, so I just started with 98 and I went all the way to Windows 8. And I made sure to get the maximum disk size up. So just keep with the, if you're doing Windows 98, keep with the 8 gigabytes chosen. Automatically allocates 256 megabytes of your memory while it's running to this virtual machine. And you can choose if you want it to power on as soon as you create it. So I'm gonna let it do that. So click Finish. It's already created the 8 gigabytes. And now you're gonna click Boot from CD-ROM. Start it with CD-ROM support. And I'll make it full screen for you guys. There we are. So this is that in the beginning was the part of DOS included in Windows 98. So it says, welcome to setup. The setup program prepares Windows 98 to run on your computer. To set up Windows now, press Enter. To learn more about setup before continuing, press F1. To quit setup without installing Windows, press F3. If you have not backed up your files recently, you might want to do so before installing Windows, and it will only install on the unallocated, or whatever it's called, disk that you already created. So click Enter. Configure unallocated disk space. Click Enter. And you can, I do enable large disk support. Click Enter. It reboots. Remember to boot from CD-ROM. CD-ROM support. Now it's formatting my drive. It's termed Drive C because that's usually what the main drive is called. This shouldn't take too long. Setup is preparing to install Windows. Please wait while setup initializes. Setup is now going to perform a routine check of your system. Press Enter. and it's using the old Microsoft scan disk. Okay, now it's going to start. So it's not going to take 30 to 60 minutes, but I will, once it starts, I will pause the video and I will resume once it finishes up. So it's going to prepare Windows 98 Setup Wizard. And if you want to, I downloaded this from winworldpc.com, which is where I'm going to be going quite shortly, because I need to get the serial key from it. And this software is dubbed abandonware, because not a lot of people use it anymore, so it is perfectly legal to use this. But use it at your own risk, but seeing it is abandonware and it is not current. Typical. I click typical, I'm not going to click custom. Install the most common components. I'm just going to call this Win98-PC. Click next, and you click where you are. Okay, now it's going to start copying its files. So I will pause the video while it is running. Okay, and I will see you when it is ready. And we are back. So, it's saying that it needs to reboot the computer. And so, it's going to do that now. So now you can see that we now have the Microsoft Windows 98 logo. And it's getting ready to run Windows for the first time. So I'm going to put in this. The main difference between this and other editions in the future is that they ask for this information before they install it. In this case, they ask for it after they install it, which, if you did not have a product key, this would be quite difficult, because you would install it all this way, but you couldn't actually do anything. So I'm going to look up the product key, and we'll be right back. So I got the product key right here. If you would like to use this product key, then by all means use it. You can also go to winworldpc.com and use their product key. This is one of the two product keys for Windows 98 2nd edition. So and then but I will post it in the description. So click next and finish. So it will continue to go on, and I will pause the video again, and when it is finished that, I will restart the video and we can see what happens then. Okay, so Windows 98 is already restarted, and it is after detecting plug-and-play devices, so it wants my date and time. I'm going to pick my date and time. So now it's setting up control panel. I find this will not take 10 minutes. This will take maybe 1 or 2. So system with Windows Help, updating the systems. This is the part that takes a little bit. Bear with me. And by the way, if anyone who is watching this video knows how to get 9x and previous to get full screen, like I can Windows 7, Vista, XP, and 8 and 10 full screen, then please let me know in the comments, because I'd really like to have Windows 98 full screen, and not in this tiny little box as you see. Yes, I'm going to pause it. Okay, it's pretty much done. So, this is less than a minute to finish. Okay, now it's going to restart once more. I have to say, this Windows 98 has restarted tons and tons of times. Okay, now it's going to reboot. And this is one of the more basic installations. If you try to do something like Windows 3.1, it is a little more difficult. So you have to install Microsoft DOS first, then you have to do Windows 3.1. Okay, now it seems to have finished installing, and it wants me to enter my password, which I have none. So let's go on new software, default monitor. It's updating my system settings. And welcome to Windows 98. And it's really bad graphics, as you can tell by this. And there you are. So, Windows 98 works just as it would in anything. If you go to my computer, you can, if you click on properties of your C drive, you can see that it is our 7.98 or 8 gigabyte hard drive. So, and that is it. And there you are. I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you a little more insight into Windows VMware Workstation 11. And a little introduction. I will be setting up some more videos later in the coming months about installing other types of operating systems, such as I mentioned, Windows 3.1 and DOS, and many others as I can think of. So, Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new. But goodbye.